What if the biggest lie you've ever believed is that success belongs to the most talented? What if the smartest student, the gifted athlete, the naturally creative person, isn't actually the one most likely to win? Because history keeps proving something brutal. Talent gets attention. Discipline gets results. And by the end of this video, you'll understand why some of the most gifted people stay average, while ordinary people with no special advantage quietly build extraordinary lives. Stay with me. Because once you understand the psychology behind greatness, you may never look at success the same way again. The core idea. We grow up being taught to admire talent. The kid who learns faster. The athlete who looks effortless. The person who seems naturally confident. The creator who looks like they were born for it. And because of that, many people believe success is mostly about having a gift. But the truth is harder than that. Talent gives you a head start. Discipline determines how far you go. That's why some people with average ability end up becoming unstoppable, while people with massive potential never become what they could have been. And the reason is not just hard work. It's psychology. Section 1: Why talent often fails. Here's the strange thing about talent. When something comes easy to you, you often don't learn the skill that matters most. Struggle. Talented people are often rewarded early. They get praised faster. They win sooner. They feel special. But that early success can become a trap. Because when real difficulty shows up, when progress slows down, when failure becomes painful, many talented people experience something dangerous. They take failure personally. Instead of thinking, I need a better system, they think, maybe I'm not as gifted as I thought. And once their identity is tied to being naturally good, they start avoiding the very thing that creates greatness. Repetition, discomfort, and discipline. That's why talent can create confidence, but also fragility. Section 2: The psychology of discipline. Now let's talk about discipline. Discipline is not about being intense. It's not about waking up at 4 a.m. just to post it online. It's not about motivation. And it's definitely not about feeling inspired every day. Discipline is identity in action. It's the ability to do what matters, even when your emotions disagree. Psychologically, discipline works because it removes negotiation. Most people lose not because they lack goals. They lose because every day they argue with themselves. Should I do it now? Maybe later. I'm tired. I'll start tomorrow. But disciplined people reduce that inner argument. They don't rely on mood. They rely on systems. And once you repeat a behavior enough times, your brain starts treating it as normal. That's when effort becomes routine. And routine becomes power. This is the hidden truth. Discipline makes hard things easier by making them familiar. Section 3: Why discipline creates greatness. Greatness is rarely one giant moment. It's not one lucky break. Not one emotional speech. Not one burst of motivation. It's usually invisible. One workout. One page read. One script written. One practice session. One boring day where you showed up anyway. That's what most people underestimate. They think greatness looks dramatic. But greatness is usually built in silence. And this is why discipline beats talent. Because discipline compounds. Talent can impress people in one moment. Discipline improves you every day. Talent may win the first race. Discipline wins the marathon. Section 4: Real examples, very important for retention. Think about the people we call great. Not just talented. Great. You'll notice something. They were obsessed with repetition. The best athletes trained when nobody watched. The best entrepreneurs kept showing up after failure. The best creators produced even when the views were low. The best students studied when nobody forced them. That's the pattern. Not occasional brilliance. Consistency under boredom. That is one of the rarest human abilities. Because almost everyone can work hard when they feel motivated. But very few people can keep going. When results are slow. When nobody claps. And when progress is invisible. That's where discipline separates dreamers from builders. Section 5, The Brutal Truth About Motivation. This is the part most people don't want to hear. Motivation is unreliable. It feels amazing. It gives you energy. It makes you believe you're changing your life. But motivation is emotional weather. It changes. If your future depends on how you feel today, you will keep starting over. That's why so many people live in cycles. Inspired on Monday. Focused on Tuesday. Distracted by Wednesday. Guilty by Friday. And new beginning on Sunday night. Discipline breaks that cycle. It says, I don't need to feel powerful. I just need to act. And that one shift changes everything. Because winners don't always feel ready. They're just more committed than comfortable. Section 6, The Hidden Advantage of Ordinary People. Here's the most encouraging part of this entire video. If you don't think you're the most talented person, that may actually be your advantage. Why? Because average people often build the one trait gifted people ignore. Consistency. When you know you can't rely on natural gifts, you start building habits. You become patient. You become tougher. You become less emotional about progress. And over time, that mindset becomes lethal. Because the world is full of people with potential. But it is starving for people who can be counted on. People who show up. People who finish. People who repeat excellence. That's what discipline creates. Not hype. Reliability. And reliability is what turns ordinary into extraordinary. So here's the real question. What if your life doesn't need more talent? What if it needs fewer excuses? What if the gap between where you are and where you want to be is not hidden in some secret opportunity, but in the boring things you keep avoiding? The workout. The study session. The business idea. The script. The first upload. The second upload. The 10th upload. Because success is rarely blocked by lack of potential. It's usually blocked by lack of repetition. So starting today, stop asking, am I talented enough? Start asking, can I stay consistent long enough? That question will change your future. In the end, talent can make you look special. But discipline makes you dangerous. Talent can open the door. Discipline is what keeps you in the room. And the people we call great, they were not always the most gifted. They were the ones who kept going. Long after everyone else got distracted. So if you're feeling behind, if you think others are more naturally talented, if your progress feels slow, remember this. You do not need to be the best today. You need to keep showing up long enough to become impossible to ignore. Because one day, the people who relied on talent will stop. And if you don't, you'll pass them. If this message hit you, comment below. Discipline wins. And if you want more videos on the psychology of greatness, success, and powerful life lessons, subscribe now. Because the next lesson might be the one that changes how you see your own potential forever.